right, guys, welcome back to the 5th episode of the Elevated Podcast. Your boy Juan Torres, hosted by
Houston, how's it going?
Today we have a very special guest, local here to the Reno area, has been hosting a ton of events. Ever since I could remember, we have Kentot.
How you doing, guys?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good. Pleasure to be on the show, man. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So actually, dude, what is your name Ken?
My name is Ken. My real name is Ken. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So I had seen it on as Kentot. So
Okay.
is that?
That's what everybody knows me by, man.
Okay,
For as
cool.
long as I can remember. So I mean, I have a story behind that, but going back off of like high school days, man, I hung out with a lot of Filipinos and anybody that had an N on the end of their name. So if your name was Ben, they would call you Bentot. If your name was, Ven, I have a friend named Ven, and they call him Ventot, and it was Kentot. But mine had a little cliche back statement of, some different kind of activity in a certain language, Tagalog for Filipino.
Yep.
But for Ken, it was Kentot, and all my Filipino homies knew me as Kentot. And when I got on the radio, it was Kentot, and then it was just like, it was only natural to keep the DJ Kentot,
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say something like tater tots.
Oh, yeah, but it gets twisted, man. It's like Kentot. People don't know how to say it really. It's really Kentot, but like when I'm sending liners to anybody, nobody's going to get that unless they have that like Filipino accent. So so I roll with Kentot, I mean, it depends on how they want it, I mean, as long as it comes across, it's Kentot, whatever.
Right. So you've been DJing for some time. You do Amplified Entertainment. Tell us a little bit about that.
So, yeah, man, I mean, Amplified is my life, man. It's something that it was always a dream of mine, man. And, coming up, back when I first started, it was more, I would go to clubs. I would kind of, I was a nightlife guy, man. I really I'm a people person. So, it's great to get out and meet people and touch people. And, so that was kind of where I kind of envisioned it to begin. And then the music part of it, it was more just like, I was self-taught. Like nobody taught me anything, man. I got out, I listened to music. I wanted to, I originally started hosting clubs on the microphone. So I was the MC. I was the guy pumping up the crowd and announcing the drink specials. And so it came natural to me. The entertainment piece came natural. I started managing DJs back then. And then I still never really took a liking to the music part of it until a radio station at the time, 97.3 K-Winds, the PD Eddie Go had came into the club that I was hosting, and they did their radio remote, but I was on the mic constantly pumping up the crowd, and I was clowning on him a little bit. We had a little dentist chair that they would kick you back and the girls would pour drinks down your throat.
Oh, okay.
So we got him in the chair and then so anyways, after the end of the night, we tore down the club and he walked up to me and he was like, "Man, you were great on the microphone." He was like, "Here's my card. I would love for you to come down and at least just check out the radio station."
Right.
And I kind of blew him off. It wasn't really, I never really thought about radio at the time and get down there. I had a vacation scheduled for New Orleans. I went to New Orleans and he's texting me like, "Hey man, you gonna come by?" And I was like, "Man, I'm on vacation, but let me think about it a little bit more."
Yep.
He texts me again and I'm like, "All right, man, I gotta go see what this guy's about, man." He's on my dome about it. So went down there, visited the station, kind of saw the format of how they do things and kind of blown away, So I sat with a guy, Bernie, and back then it was Bernie Mac, which was the night guy. Which now Bernie works with me. He's one of my event hosts. So
how many? When was this?
Oh man, this is early 2000s. I mean, it's been a long time, bro. Here in Reno, yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So that signal now is, I believe it's a country station now, but it's still owned by the same, it's Reno Media Group. And back then it was Americon Broadcasting.
Right.
So that station's still around. They have just flipped formats since then. And, that happens a lot. Stations jump signals and they flip formats. And so I went in, I sat with Bernie. I got to sit in his show, kind of learned, the way radio works. And, Eddie was like, "Hey, after that, let's talk." And so I figured I'd give it a shot. And they gave me my own show. It was a Saturday morning. I called it the Saturday morning struggle, you know.
Yeah.
And it was, I had an artist out of the Bay named Mr. Key, and he did a little intro rap for it, you know, and I would play that, fire off that sweeper before the show, and you know, I mean, it was a weekend, you know, it got my feet wet.
Yep.
Then they started moving me to the promotional side, taking the van out, the van hits, and Frightmare back in the day. You know, I would go there, I would do the call-ins from Frightmare, and Service Industry Night at Babinga. I would be the guy in there doing the call-ins from there. So we're talking, you know, we're dating back, you know.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it was a good time, man. You know, I really learned a lot with the radio station. Then they started sending me out to Swope Middle School, because Swope Middle School used to book the radio station to DJ their dances.
Yeah.
So I was the technical guy, so I knew how. I mean, I sat with Bernie when he did it, so I knew how to set the stuff up. I knew how to tear it down. I knew how to take care of it. The one thing I didn't know was how to DJ.
Right.
But at the time, like back then, it was PC DJ, man, and like we would put the CD in and hit play, and it would get to a certain decibel, and then would train wreck the next song in.
No way.
But they didn't care, man. You're talking little middle school kids, as long as you're playing the right music.
Oh, okay.
But for me, I knew what the music was because I was on the air, and I was the guy answering the phone every time they were calling. So I knew the hot stuff to play already.
Right.
So it made my job a little bit easy. But actually, you know, it was good to be able to get that feeling. And then eventually, you know, about a year or two later, I just started learning how to DJ a little bit. And about 2.5 years after the radio station, I jumped, man. I took a leap, and I had an investor at the time who had similar interests. He kind of wanted to do like the background side of it and let me, you know, play the forefront of it all.
Right.
And you know, so we got out. I met with a guy, and I still work with him today. His name's Pablo, and he's a graphic designer. I met with him, and you know, he was like, "Okay, well, tell me a little bit about, you know, what you want to start here." And I was like, you know, I want to start a DJ business, but you know, I'm not really sure what direction I want to take it. You know, I just want to entertain people, man. And he's like, well, you know, what's it called? What do you want to call it? And I was like, man, to be honest, I don't know yet. You know, and you know, today the name is Powered Equipment, right? Powered. You know, if you buy a powered speaker, it's powered. It's got amplified already, right? Amplified.
Yep.
So back then we used to call it amplified equipment, and a company named Mackie was like Mackie Amplified Equipment.
Yeah.
So you know, he's like, well, tell me, you know, what kind of gear do you use? And I was like, oh man, we just bought a bunch of Mackie Amplified. And he said, stop. And I was like, what? No, stop right there. And I was like, well, hold on, I'm not done talking, bro. Let me tell you. And he was like, no, I just found it for you. And I was like, what do you mean you found it for me, bro? I'm the one, you know. And he's like, no, Amplified, Amplified Entertainment. And I was like,
it sticks.
I like it, bro. I like it. I was like, all right, what were we talking about again? Because, you know, forget it. Like, this is what it is, you know.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, all right, cool. Pablo, you got it? Yep. All right, I'll have a logo for you in a few days.
What?
And that's how it originated.
Really?
And the OG logo was the way he made it. And back then, man, it was MySpace, and we were big on MySpace. I had a lot of followers on MySpace, and a lot of people anywhere that I would go. I mean, MySpace was huge back then.
Right.
I was like, you know what better way to do it? And our MySpace handle was myspace.com/Reno events. And you know, at the time I didn't think, you know, you got to keep your name in it, right? But back then I was like, Reno is big, you know, that's us, and we throw events. So like that's a perfect handle to do.
Yep.
So I had, you know, it was basically Pablo made the logo to look like it was a tear out of a Yellow Page ad. And he angled our logo, and it had like little cuts on the strip. And then underneath it said, my big phone number. I felt like Mike Jones of Reno, man. And, you know, so my big phone number there, because I was like, man, call me, bro. You know what I mean? And then underneath that, it was myspace.com/Reno events.
Oh, man.
And I'll definitely share that logo with you, man. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, dude, please do.
That logo means a lot to me, man. And I've transitioned that logo a few different times, and now I probably have like 30 plus logos. Just, you know, I get an idea in my mind, and I'm just always keeping something fresh, you know.
Yeah.
So,
and you know, from what I was looking at too, so just going back to your Instagram, like your first post on Instagram was in 2012. So I was like, man, Amplified Entertainment has always been a name for me, and it's always been in the area, right? So I was like, man, there's no way it started in 2012.
Yeah.
It definitely seemed like there was the early days behind it. So it's interesting to see that,
Yeah.
it goes all the way back to the MySpace days.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And Facebook came in full force. I mean, Facebook was already out around that time, but it wasn't really popularized. It was more like friends and family were using
Yeah.
Facebook.
Right.
And it didn't look as good either. It was
Absolutely
just
not.
like,
Yeah.
just white. And then
Right.
a little bit of blue. And
Yeah.
then that's it. Like,
Yeah.
you had people.
Right. And then, Instagram came out, and we were always like, we're the hot commodity right now, man. If something new comes out, we got to jump on that handle.
Right.
And 2012 is when Instagram came out, and I had a street team girl who went to Reed High School. Was like, Ken, don't sleep on this, man. We need to jump on it. And I was like, look, I don't have time for that, but if you want to create the handle, she created the handle. We started working on it because you never know if it's gonna flop or whatever.
Right.
And then shortly after that was Vine. We jumped on Vine, and then it was Path. Path was another one that was competitive with Vine. We jumped on Path, and LinkedIn. I mean, we're on all of them.
Yeah.
Twitter, of course,
Yeah,
and Twitter
TikTok
still
now,
got some
right?
relevancy, and the TikTok is what it is today, man. It's it's huge, but if you don't stay in the forefront of that, man, you're falling behind the times, and that was one thing is, really stay innovative and stay, social.
Yeah.
Yep. A lot of people who I listened to online, a lot of influencers years ago, probably like 2018, early 2019, were talking about TikTok. So before it was Musically, and then when it started going into that transition to
Yeah,
TikTok,
because there's no more TikTok. Where'd they have to go? They had
Right.
to go somewhere.
yeah, exactly. Talking about Vine, right?
Yeah, Vine.
Yeah, right.
I mean, hopefully not TikTok.
Yeah, and it was just the short clips and people doing what they were doing on there. But it's interesting about how I've heard a lot of people say, well, TikTok really isn't for me. It seems like that's for the kids. Like, it seems like that's more of a kid app. Like, yeah, it may have been to begin with, but like you're saying, you shouldn't sleep on anything like that. If
Not
there's
at all.
it's all free advertising.
Not at all.
Right?
And I jumped on Musically right when it came out. So, I was on the cusp of it. And soon as it, flipped to the TikTok format, I mean, we were already there. We already knew what was going on. And I mean, we don't spend enough time on it. But, at the same time, like, you sit back and you look at it, and then you get a pandemic that you're not worried about, or here it comes and it hits you.
Right.
And you're not on it. Now you're on it because you ain't got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
And, as moms and dads and grandpas and grandmas. And then it's viral videos all over the place,
Right.
And I mean, there was nothing really that was stopping you from becoming viral if you knew how to work the app,
Yeah, you think about it, and like on average, they say that most people are on their phone like 8 to 10 hours a day. Well, automatically, going into the pandemic, when you can't do anything, you can't communicate with people.
Doubles, it triples.
Yeah, you're on it 24/7.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there, that, where did Musically and TikTok originate?
Right. That's
right.
I've never heard that.
Where did where did Mr. Trump say the invisible enemy came from? Right. Well, now all of a sudden the pandemic hits, and what app pops off more than any other app and blows up, bigger than Facebook and Instagram? And where did it originate? And then now we buy it.
This is the biggest marketing fucking scheme
Man.
ever, bro. So if you're trying to make a lot of money, put an app out there and then cause a pandemic is what you're saying.
I mean, I didn't say it, but I said it. Like, I'm just saying what I heard, or and there's a lot of people that think that, man. And it's very, very ironic when it comes to that. I mean, when you start thinking about that, it blows your mind, man.
It's too coincidental.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So even like just thinking about it now, it seems like MySpace was the first like real popular online social media platform. Because like right before that, if you wanted to get in communication with anybody or even contact services or anything, it was like the Yellow Pages.
Yellow Pages.
So that's what you're saying with like it ripping out.
Yeah.
It totally makes sense. Like that transition was happening at that point.
Right.
The only other thing that you would communicate with people online was with chat rooms.
Right.
Yeah. So MySpace
AOL was big.
Yeah.
AOL was
Yeah.
huge at that time,
Messenger
man.
after
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so MySpace was like that first one. And that's like, I used to love MySpace for the music aspect, man. That was like, after I guess like LimeWire or BearShare and all like the media streaming things. Well, not streaming, but where you would pirate music, which I don't do. Didn't do.
He didn't do it.
It was MySpace,
Yeah.
So that's like where it all began. And it's funny too how like even, you know, a lot of artists would put like their AIM account, like, oh, message me on AIM.
Oh, yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? So damn, man, that was in the early 2000s for
Yeah.
Amplified.
Yeah, man, it's been a long time, man. A long time. A lot of growth, a lot of learning, and a lot of evolving, man. You know,
Yep.
I mean, it's a crazy world we live in today, even. You
Yeah.
know, so.
So what made you like? You're saying that you're emceeing events, you're the hype man, you're up there getting everybody pumped.
Yeah.
How did you first get on stage? Like, what was the transition to that?
So it was kind of like just a part-time, you know, situation for me. And my sister worked for an advertising agency, and a friend of hers or it was a coworker of hers, her husband was getting this opportunity to be. Basically, he was a bar manager, and they were throwing him in like, hey, we're opening this little spot, and we're gonna put you in charge of it. And he's like, all right, I'll take it, but I don't know nightlife, you know. So he you know, he was talking about it to his wife. His wife told my sister, and she's like, you should talk to my brother. He knows a lot of people. And you know, back in the day, and I'm gonna date you back even more, but like, you know, where Harrah's no longer is,
Yep.
on the corner there. It was Ichiban's last, right?
Right.
Before that, it was Planet Hollywood, right? Before that, it was Club 219.
Oh.
219 South Virginia Street.
Ah, okay.
So that's where that situation evolved in, and you know, they connected me. I went down and met with him, and he was like, I need a DJ. I need girls to, you know, help promote this thing. I need media. I need. And I was just, you know, getting my feet wet myself, you know, at that time.
That was a big jump.
It was a big jump for me. It was, but I knew this DJ. His name was DJ Steels back in the day. You know, he's still around, but you know, I knew him at the time, and he had already hit me up and was like, hey man, you know, a lot of people, get me some gigs, and so this popped up at the same time. So you know, I was like, hey, here we go, man. You know, it's on and cracking now. So. Got him on there, and he was like, well, you know, I'm not a big mic guy. So, and I was like, I got mic all day, bro. No problem. You know? So, you know, so that's how, you know, it evolved, and we started building that aspect of it. And I think 219 was around for about a year and a half before Harrah's was just like, you know, to have a nightclub and a casino is already a big risk. And, you know, we didn't have a lot of problems at that one. It was a lot of fun, but you know, when you're looking at an entrance from the casino side and an entrance from the corner of the street, you know, it's pretty dangerous for you know, a casino to take that step. And you know, you have fights and they pour out on the street, or you have fights or car accidents, and then they say, oh well, I was at the club. And so, you know, as a venue owner, man, they, you know, there's one thing that's a lot of risk. You know, as a casino person that owns it, they're like, make it a restaurant, you know. But if Planet Hollywood comes in with some big money and says, hey, we want to take our brand there, which they didn't last too long either. But you know, Reno's a tough cookie, man. If they don't stick with you, they don't stick with you. And Planet Hollywood was dope, but it's nothing like Vegas Planet Hollywood, and that's probably why it didn't stick. You know, they should have called me. If they would have called me, Planet Hollywood would still be there. No.
Oh, hey, yeah.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
So I actually thought you were gonna say Reno Live, because that was like a big name that I've always heard about, which was one more corner down.
It was actually on the same corner off of Sierra Street right there.
Exactly.
Yeah. We messed with Reno Live with the radio station. We did a lot of stuff inside Reno Live. Me and B Mac used to be in there all the time. Yeah.
Oh,
it was good.
Man. Yeah, so when you started going into Amplified and you started doing it, did it boom? Like what was the beginning like?
The beginning boomed, man, and it was very powerful. Like I you know, I didn't go after mobile DJ gigs. I didn't go after like the weddings and you know, any of that at first. I went for the kids, man. I was like, you know, the kids don't have anything to do right now, you know. So how can I create and evolve? I mean, if MySpace was predominantly kids, you know, how can you capture that demographic? So I was like, we need to start doing our own little clubs. And back in the day,
Hypnotic? Was that you?
Club Hypnotic.
No way!
Wow.
I was in there wilding out as a child.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. I can't believe you said that word, bro. Like, honestly, there's very, very few people that know that.
Yeah.
But it was at a spot called Greco's Pizza, man, and it was on Audie and Sullivan. And there was a Save Mart right next to it. And that popped off, man. And it was, you know, shout out to, you know, Nikos, you know, the late Nikos, rest in peace. He passed away a few years back, but He gave me that opportunity, him and his family, and I went in there and we crushed it, man. And I had tons of kids coming in, and it was just full all the time. Where we outgrew it, and really it was just like, man, this is, we got to find something bigger.
Right.
Right now El Grande is where it's at, the little salon that many people do know and don't know, but it's on Green Bay, and that used to be the Green Bay bowling lanes.
That's right.
So we took an opportunity, went and met with them, and they gave us an opportunity to do it, and we did one there, and it was like, nah, you guys ain't coming back, because it was so many people. They were extremely overwhelmed, and they were just like, wow, I can't handle it. And we didn't even have problems, but it was just like, wow, like I just can't. I'm like, bro, you're winning right now. Like every lane's full.
Yeah.
Right.
Our upper deck is popping. I'm sure, obviously, but they want the alcohol sales, and you're not going to get that with the kids, and you're going to have the problems of them doing bad stuff in the parking lot. So they didn't want to step any further, So from that point, I was on the hunt, man. I was like, I got to find me a venue, man. And I kept going to this spot. It was called Stoney's.
Okay.
And it was on Wells, and most people probably know it as Jub Jubs.
Right.
Yeah.
Before that, it was called Fiesta Salon.
Yeah.
But Stoney's, and people were like, that's the spot, man. It was like an indoor skate park at one point.
Oh, damn.
Turned into a music venue, and they would do concerts. And J Max, who was a promoter, he did a lot of concerts in there. So I went in, and I just kept they had this little mailbox, and I kept putting my card in there. And no call. Put my card in there the next day. I was like, man, I'm getting in here.
Yeah.
And finally, this dude was like, bro, you left 10 cards for me, bro. Like, what's up? And I was like, I got something for you, man, that I'm going to change your game, right? And so we took Club Hypnotic to another level, man. And it used to be, I'll share, one of our pictures from there. But over 800 people every single Friday night.
Crazy.
And we're talking lit, man. But this was hyphy days. This is
give me one.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was a great opportunity, and obviously a lot of problems come, and I had to adapt and evolve and figure out ways where, you're dealing with kids, so issues are happening in the parking lots, and then, it was like broken windows, and now I'm paying for broken windows, and 7-Eleven down the street's getting robbed, and now it's my fault, and now I'm supplying a security guard to stand in front of 7-Eleven, and like I'm paying stuff out of my. I was trying to keep it going,
What?
There was a paint store right there, and I think it's a UFC or MMA gym right now. That used to be a paint store, and there would be always broken bottles in there, and they would complain every single weekend, and then I would go in there. 2-3 in the morning, we're done, and I would take my team over there, and we're sweeping it up, throwing bottles away.
That's cool, though. That's
I try to do what I could to keep it going, man, because, at the end of the day, I was doing it for the youth and the community, and I wanted to provide a safe atmosphere, but at the same time, you got them knuckleheads out there, man, that, don't care about anybody. And, back then they would knuckle up. Today they don't, and so thank God, I lived through that era and not had to, because who would have known what would have happened, But I'm very thankful that, that same following has followed me continuously and supported me. And
you were smart going after the kids, keeping them busy, and
man, it was, but it also it also gave me a dark cloud above my head, playing hyphy Bay Area music and only going for kids. The realistic industry side of it, the casinos, the venues, the nightclubs, they didn't take me serious, and rightfully so, man. I was just an independent hustler, man. I was out there hustling on my own, and that other side, I was probably the laughing stock, even though I had more people in my club than they ever did,
Absolutely.
Or maybe not than they ever did, but at the time I was the hot spot to be at, to a point where resident DJs in clubs today, not saying no names, message me on MySpace of all places saying, "Hey, I'd like to come play at your club Hypnotic before."
Right. Yeah.
So. And then, but laugh later, here we come, and I'm still in business, and those situations, they're not even DJing anymore.
Right. And like right before we started the podcast, you're just talking about consistency, and going back a little bit, you're talking about how you just kept on leaving your business cards time after time. So that shows that you were consistent, right? And you were really pushing for what you were trying to do.
I was a hustler, man. I really was, man. And when I would go to print business cards, and people are like, "Oh, PS Print, 50 business cards for $80, whatever. They're going the cheap route, or 100
Yeah.
business cards. I was like 5,000, and my guy's like, "Are you kidding me? You're gonna go through 5,000?" No, I might not, but I want to be able to have those business cards. And
Ready.
man, I was out there. Hey, I'm Ken. Hey, I'm Amplified. Like I didn't know who. You never know who you're talking to, and you never know who's gonna give you that opportunity. And you know, I'm in a restaurant, and I pay my bill, and I throw a card in there. Like I don't know who that person is and who that person knows. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
you never know. You never know.
It's again, I go back to I'm a people person, man, and like love me or hate me, man. Like you can't say that I don't hustle. You know what I mean?
Right. And so, did the hustle for you start when you first were getting on stage doing the MC thing and evolving through that? Or was it earlier than that? Were you always the hustler?
I was always the hustler, man. And you know, thanks for bringing that up because I have to throw a lot of that to my parents. You know, my parents were, you want something? Sure, go work for it. Like, really? A friend of mine got a brand new car for his 16th birthday. Like, you want a car? Go work for it.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? This is messed up, man. You know. But you don't think of it at the time. You're like, man, my parents suck.
Yeah,
you know,
you have to get a job
later
somewhere.
on, you know, so at 15 and a half, I got an opportunity to get a job, and it was with Scolari's Food and Drug, and I was a bagger. You know, that's where I started my hustle, and you know, I remember to this day, and this is dating me way back, bro. So I'm not saying how old I am, but I made $3.85 an hour, bro.
Oh,
Minimum wage,
shit.
$3.85 an hour.
Right.
But I was balling, bro.
Fuck
you know what I
yeah.
mean? I was balling at 15 and a half, you know?
Hell yeah,
so,
dude.
you know, as I turned 16, you know, my dad had this Nissan truck, and it was brown, and, you know, it was his little work truck, had some pipe racks on it, and they were like, all right, you're 16, you know, you're going to go buy a car. What do you want to do? And I was like, you know, I'm not sure what I really want. You know, I'm stacking my money, whatever. And they were like, all right, well, here's an opportunity for you. Your dad's willing to give you this truck, and he owes $6,000 left on it. So you got to pay off the $6,000, and it's yours.
Right.
And I was like, I'm getting screwed here. You know what I mean? Like $6,000.
Yeah.
And so I took the truck and took off the pipe rack off of it. You know, I was like, all right, what am I going to do with this thing? So I went and got it lowered. I painted it black. I put a booming system in it.
Yeah.
And that's how they knew me. You know, I went to Douglas High School, man, and I was the guy that people were like, God damn, man,
It's your first car.
You could hear this guy
to.
coming,
Yeah.
you know?
Hell yeah.
So I towed my homecoming float in my Nissan truck. And,
No way.
you know, and man, I used to go out lunch, and people would always come up to my car, and you know, that was like, dang, man, how'd you get this thing, man? I was like, I put this together myself. You know, I put some big wide rims on it, and you know, I mean, I was in the little truck scene at that point, you know, the mini trucks, and but I was always the guy, you know, I wanted something nice, man. I went out and get it, you know, and my mom was like, hey, you should really save your money, but you know what, you worked hard for it, go get it.
Right.
And so I did that. Excuse me. So I got to a point where I turned 18, and then they were like, all right, you graduated, you're 18. What are your plans? I was like, I don't know, man. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm 18, you know? Well, if you want to stay here, you're going to pay rent. I'm like, man, this is bull crap. You know what I mean?
Give it another one.
And again, you know, you're not looking at the whole situation. She said, son, we're going to learn you some responsibilities. And I was like, wow, all right. Pay that. Oh, by the way, now that you're 18, we're going to transfer the insurance over under your name, and now it doubles.
Right.
And you're going to pay that too. I'm like, God dang, man, I'm trying to move out of here, man, because I can't, you know.
Right.
But it got me to a point where I was managing my money, and I understood it then, you know.
Right.
And, you know, thankful to them, man, like dating back, like you said, the hustler, my parents created the hustler, man. They really did. And I applaud them today, and I love them for that, man, because, you know, as a parent, you want to spoil your kids. You want to give them everything, man. But, you know, if you give them a silver spoon constantly, man, they don't know how to operate, especially in today's world, man.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
there's a lot of people who demand things or who feel like they're entitled, man. And I run into those people every single day, whether they're on the brand or trying to be a part of the brand, or people that jump on thinking they're demanding something. And I'm sorry, man, like, I worked my ass off to get where I'm at today, and I still working my ass off to get where we are today. So I'm not gonna give any silver spoons out, man. You know, the work's got to be there, work ethic.
Yeah, absolutely,
100.
man. And you know, it's like me and Houston have had this conversation a lot, man, where at the time when I was a kid, you know, I would say I have like a really similar upbringing as to what you're saying. And it's like at the time I was like, man, what the fuck? Why can't you guys just get it for me? Like I have like cousins, like friends, like they just got a fucking brand new bike. They just got the PS1. Like, why can't I fucking have this shit, right? And it was always like, well, you got to work for what you have. Looking back at it now, dude, I'm so fucking grateful for that. Because even like when I first got my job, it's like, oh, you got a job? Now you got to pay for this. Now you got to pay for that. Then it's like, what?
It makes you appreciate and know the worth of money.
Yeah, exactly, man. Because if not, like, even now, I know people who it's like, you know, their family, I have cousins, everything like that, where it's like, yeah, you know, they don't help out their parents. They never helped out their parents. They still live at home. They don't pay rent. And it's like, what? Like, what are you guys doing? Like, bro, you know, you've been working for 10 years and you're still asking your parents for money. You can't manage your money to this point. Like, what are you doing, you know?
Absolutely.
So it's like, it's interesting how you don't ever put the pieces of the puzzle going forward, but looking back, it totally makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and you know, when I got those extra responsibilities, I went out and got a second job.
Right.
And you know, I worked daytime with Scolari's Food and Drug, and then I worked for 7-Up Bottling, and I was a merchandiser, and I would do it on my lunch break at Scolari's, and I would do it when I got off for a couple hours. And I mean, I got through it, man. You know, I mean, I had to do what I had to do to be able to not only pay my bills, but have a little bit of change to enjoy life, you know. And back then I was, you know, I was big into basketball, and it was like the fresh pair of J's came out, and I was the first guy on it, you know. And you know, I wanted to, you know, I wanted to look good, man, with what I was doing, you know.
On your own dime, not somebody else's.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, that's why I have a lot of respect for a lot of people who go out there and they work for everything they got, because there's not enough of people out there doing it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And, you know, like you're saying also, man, that there's a lot of people who just feel that you know, you owe them certain things, and they feel like the world owes them shit. And it's like, it's crazy. How are you going to fucking think that? Or, you know, it's always that whole thing with your upbringing, man, that's always just been given to you. So you expect it to continue to happen.
Absolutely.
You haven't known anything else.
Yeah. And I mean, there's people that they're talented, man, super talented. But if you walk up to me and you're talented and that's all you got, you don't have a personality, and you feel like people owe you stuff,
fuck that.
Pound sand, brother. Like, go find somebody else. Whether you're a girl performer, a guy DJ, it doesn't matter, bro. Like, I ain't having it. Like, sorry, you know. I work way too hard to just hand something over to somebody like that. It's not happening. You know?
Man, absolutely, dude. So, with you know, you're saying with Amplified and the things you were going through when you were first starting and everything, I don't know how much time actually goes into like an event, you know, like. You were even talking about having to clean up afterwards, having to get like security for the 7-Eleven, like everything that goes with it. Like, so now does that all fall on like the venue, the host? Like, so if you're going to start an event, like, you know, bring me like from front to back, like how does that happen? Because even going through like your Instagram, man, you've had a lot of big names, dude. From, you know, even like through Hypnotic, going through the Knitting Factory, even some of the venues now. It's like, what? Like, how do you get in contact with some of these people? Like, how does that work?
You know, and I had to learn that side of it, you know, through Hypnotic. It kind of, again, going back to my radio days, you know, going to a Swope Middle School, I knew what the popular music was, right? So me playing Hypnotic, I knew the Pack was popular, you know, and that was the booty shaking stuff, man, and all the girls love it. Mr. Fab was hot, you know.
Clyde Carson, the team,
absolutely, man, you know,
Area.
absolutely, and you know, timeless music, bro, that plays to this day, you know. And you know, so to evolve and to have people coming up and request music that you already know. So then, you know, I'm like, man, Mr. Fab's always getting asked for, you know. It was Ghost Ride the Whip back then, you know. And I was a fan, bro. So I hit up Fabby, and I believe I hit him up on Instagram, and he sent me his manager's numbers. And that manager's name was Stretch at the time, and Stretch called me, and I was like, hey man, I gotta bring Fabby out here, bro. Like, he's popping. And you know, we brought him out, sold it the hell out. I mean, I had freaking dew dripping from the ceiling, dropping on everybody, bro. It was that hot inside that place, and man, it was lit, bro. And like, it was just a wowing factor to me, you know. So then it was like, all right, man, who else is hot? Who else can we bring? The Federation was popping at the day, so I brought the Federation out. You know, the great thing is like, Clyde Carson and the team, there's a little story behind that. They had an energy drink called Hyphy Juice.
That's right.
And I was already representing and doing a little side hustle called Pimp Juice. It was Nelly's Pimp Juice at the time. So I was the guy who was working with the guy who was distributing that Pimp Juice. So then Kobe had hit me up and he was like, hey, man, we have this Hyphy Juice. We can spin it out in Reno. We got to get some venues but we need distribution. And I was like, man, we're already distributing Pimp Juice. We already got the cool stuff. Yeah. So we brought in Hyphy Juice and I connected him with that guy. So he was already showing me love. He was like, man, you already got pallets of it going out there. And so I was out there trying to sell it on him, man. Let's do some Hyphy Juice parties. So I started putting it on my flyers and, then he was like, well, we got Clyde Carson in the team. And I was like, dude, we got to do it, bro. We got to do it. And so I brought Clyde Carson out here. I brought the team out here. Yeah. That day snowed 2 feet. Oh. And I was like, wow. So I'm sitting on the end of the stage, like my head's down. And I'm like, man, like we got screwed here, Yeah. And it was a big lesson. I took a big loss on it. But you know what? I was like, I'm going to do the event anyway. Because I could easily cancel it, right? Yeah. If I cancel it, say, hey, sorry, guys, the snow, whatever. I did it anyway. And they were like, oh, it's whack, blah, blah, blah. So you get all those people, like, oh, where is everybody? Well, if I knew, bro, they'd be here. You know what I mean? Like, but I was there. So then it was so powerful, bro, because I was sitting on the stage and I was like bummed out. A couple of my team sat down next to me, and I was that people person, man. I wasn't like promoters today, a lot of them, they'll promote a show and they're doing whatever and they're in the back, bro. They don't come out. I'm the guy that jumps off the stage. I'm shaking hands, kissing babies, and So I sat at the edge of the stage, man, and like the people that really rocked with me came and they sat down next to me. They put their arm on me and was like, don't worry about it, bro. Like, we're here with you, know? Then some of the crowd started coming up and they were like, man, thank you for everything you do. And I was like, cool.
Good times, bad times.
So started tearing up, like, man, real talk. I was like, wow, this is deep, bro, So I took a big L on that event and, you never know why you took that L and what happened. You don't know, Right. And later on, we brought YG out and I called Kobe up and he was like, it's time to make good, bro. We're gonna send Clyde out with it, and he had that Slow Down song. Yeah. And he sent out, his dancers, Priceless the Rock and all these other guys, and they came out and just took over the show, bro. And I was like, wow. Like, and so I saw the bigger picture of it. And this was at Cargo, not the lower Cargo, the third floor Cargo. Oh, okay. And, we had another guy out who was popping at the time, Young Kurt. Yeah. Rest in peace, Young Kurt. He passed away too. Yeah.
Oh, did he really?
Passed away, man. Yeah. A few years back as well. Yeah. Oh. So, but yeah, I mean, I had a freaking show for you, man. Like they were like Young Kurt, freaking Clyde Carson and YG. Really?
Was this YG during the jerking days, or was this after?
This is the beginning of YG, bro. This is
so way before he.
Exactly. This is like the Just Read Up mixtape YG, and bringing him out connected me with their management, and their management was like, man, you got this town on lock, bro. What can we do to, get YG radio spins? What can we do to get YG popularized out here? And I was like, bro, put my logo on your posters. Send me your posters. I'll get my street team on it. Yeah. That's a win-win, bro. If my logo's on YG's posters, right?
Oh, yeah.
All over town, man. I have my street team out there, events would end. Hey, make sure you check out the Just Read Up mixtape. Posters, everything. I would hit the demos to the radio stations. And so that's... He bubbled here, and he might not admit it to this day, but like they got popularized because of Amplified, and I don't ever go out there and speak on that because I'm a humble dude, and I respect everything that they've done, and but his manager Brandon, like we've always been cool, and so then they came back out again, and then they came out on the Mac Miller tour, which was not us, but he hit me up. He's like, hey Kim, man, take me somewhere. I'm gonna go get a haircut. So I took Brandon to go get a haircut. Like, wasn't my show, but the connection is there. And then then the networking side of it, you know, comes to life, and
Right.
you're like, man, you got to stay networking with people,
Mm-hmm.
and whether they're local or non-local, man, you gotta stay cool with people, you know, and so I started building my networks, and I started reaching out to agencies and concert agencies, and then before you know it, them artists are saying, hey, you know, this tour's happening, and it's like, well, how can I line Reno up with the tour?
Right.
The challenges with Reno is artists make a crap load of money on an event, but yet they come to a small city and you can't expect that big paycheck at a small city.
Right.
So you're offering less, and they're like, man, some artists are like, screw Reno, I'm going to drive right past Reno and go to Utah.
What was that one concert we went to at GSR, and it was like 2 minutes?
Oh,
Yeah, so we went to this concert, and he's super hyped, and he's like, yeah, let's go. And who was it? He was on
I don't
for like
remember,
3
man.
minutes. Yeah, and it makes sense. Like, people don't want to be here if they're not making that much money.
Yeah, you know, I've even gone to another show that was at Jub Jub's, and the artist had came out, man, and the whole thing was probably like 15 minutes. You know, it was just like a sample from each song. I was like, bro, like, I understand there's not a ton of people, man, but I'm having a good time.
Right.
Like,
I paid my ticket. I want to see you perform, man. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that was big, man. And, you know, I had my reputation on the line in a lot of those. So, like, I wanted to make sure they got full concerts. And, you know, in my contracts, it was like 45-minute show. Unless you didn't have all the hits, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then I'm just like, I don't want you to bore people either, you know?
Yeah.
But I would stack them. The beauty of my shows versus many other shows was we popularized the DJ aspects of it. Because when we rock, we start, you know, an hour later than most concerts start. But my first hour is the DJ. And I'm like, people are showing up. And I'm not just playing background music, bro. A lot of these concerts you go to, you just hear like all in the background. And you're like, okay, I guess I'm going to go get a drink. And like, it's all low volume. My shit's bumping the minute you walk in the door, bro. And, you know, whether there's 50 people or 100 starting to show up, and like that DJ's earning his stripes, one, and he's getting limelight. People are gonna, you know, they may not remember who he is, but at the same time, you're gonna see a big Amplified banner there, and you're gonna remember that DJ was part of Amplified. You know, there was a method to my madness with it. You know, the first act would come on, and I was very good on my timesheet, bro. I made sure that the show started when it was supposed to, and and their set ended when it was supposed to, because I wanted my next DJ to come on. And he's going to rock 15 minutes. So there is no downtime in my show, bro. Man, as a business, you got to be innovative, man.
Absolutely.
You know, and I say this a lot when I meet with people is like, you know, if you own a Starbucks and you're like, you know, the holidays are coming and you know, I have a green cup, but I'm going to switch it red for the holidays, right? And they're going to sit back and go, okay, well, what did those numbers do? Did we sell more red cups, or do we still the same?
Exactly.
You know, those are things that we look at as business owners that the naked eye doesn't look at.
Right.
Not
Right.
at all. Yeah.
So I'm looking at it like that. Like, did that work? Did you know? What can I do to entice bookings for 2021?
Right.
You know, fortunately, all of our 2020 bookings rescheduled for 2021.
Yep.
Nobody really asked for a refund back. Same scenario. I
Right.
mean, they want the brand. They want, you know, the passionate DJs to be a part of their special day or whatever it was, whether it's a wedding or a quince or a festival event or, and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, because we're thriving, because we're still heavy on social media, because we get invited to do cool stuff like this, like this keeps us relevant. You know, I just had a Red Hawk Living magazine wrote an article, and it was a great article on us. And he was like, you know, before that, it was Northern Nevada Business Weekly reached out to me and were like, how were you caused by the pandemic? And like, and they're like, dude, you're not struggling? And I'm like, well, in everybody's mind, yeah, we're not all out rocking all these events, but I ain't struggling.
Right.
Like, I'm all over TikTok. I'm all over Instagram. I'm, you know, I'm that guy, bro. And I'm not gonna slow up because of a pandemic. And it's, you know, it's tough, man, to stay in that mentality and stay positive through it all. But as a business owner, you got to act and operate your business accordingly, man. And like, you know, I can't say we're killing it by any means, but at the same time, man, we're going to do just enough to get by. You know, blessed one more time. We're on 3 radio stations, you know, having mixed shows on 3 radio stations is a blessing, bro. People get to hear us, and they get to, you know, I get bookings from our website that are like, oh, you guys are amazing. I'm getting tagged on social media. You know, the Amplified DJs are some of the best DJs in the area. Like, you know, all that, man, is just like fuel to my heart. You know what I mean? And it's something that I built, but at the same time, it's enhancing guys like this. It's enhancing the youth. It's bringing in new talent. It's, you know, and it's not all about the DJs, bro. We have performers. I got hoopers. I got hoopers killing the game. I got go-go dancers killing the game. I got models killing the game. You know, I got so many people killing the game that are just ready to go when the world opens back up.
Yeah, you have to, man. One of the books that I had read years ago, man, it put me in that state of mind with what you were saying, was the Lean Startup. So the Lean Startup basically talks about being able to start up a business without having everything, right? So one of the things that in the past, like I've had people say like, oh, you know, I'm trying to sell this, but they want $1,000 for me to get it. It's like, well, instead of putting the $1,000 out there, why don't you just post it as if you already have it? Yeah, but I don't have it. And what if they want it? At that point, you buy it. Right. You know, it's like you put the money now into it, right? So you got to work with what you have. And like what you were saying too is like it put a lot of people at a halt. But for me and Houston, it was definitely like an eye opener, dude. And as soon as it was like, dude, the pandemic's hitting, what are we gonna do now? So it's like, what can we sell? What can we do? What's gonna be needed? Not just now, but looking down the road, the next few months when the vaccine comes out. You know, and it's just looking at the different opportunities that you have. And it's like, for me, none of these things have ever became difficult or are difficult to me now, only because the way I look at it is I've had really bad days. You know, I've had mentally fucked up days. Yeah. And I've had times with no money, without looking like there was light at the end of the tunnel. So now these things to me, man, I have a little bit of money. I'm mentally clear. Dude, this shit's cake. Yep. You know? So it's like, you really got to be able to be innovative, be able to move forward. There's a lot of businesses that I believe that, of course, you know, consistency. But if you weren't able to innovate through the pandemic, you're going to end up closing down, you know?
One way or another.
Yeah, you have to find a way to be able to grow what you already have, whether it's curbside pickup, deliveries only. I've heard about like big restaurants in Los Angeles where they're, you know, they do 5-class, you know, Michelin dining, you know, things like that, where they're saying that a lot of their servers ended up converting to delivery drivers. Right. You know, so it's like, instead of letting go what was once a server, how can we still keep these people on payroll and be able to do something else?
Yeah, you're innovative, man. You got to 100% be innovative. And, you know, the governmental part of like the help and the loans and the business loans and all this stuff, like, you know, I'll definitely speak on that because it affects my business because it's like they offer a 10K grant, right? And you're like, oh, 10K, shoot, we could use that because we're struggling, right? Right. But then you look into the aspects of the 10K grant. What do you have to spend it on? Yeah. Right. And it's like, one, PPE. Right. Well, I don't need PPE. I'm not going to go buy a bunch of plastic stuff and a bunch of gloves. And like, my business does not conform to that, you know? In the entertainment world, we got screwed on all that because all of that funding was for businesses like that. Or they're like, oh, well, your lease. I'm a company on the go, man. I don't have a lease.
Right. You have no overhead.
Or business expenses. Like, okay, well, you needed whatever. All right. So if I already own all the sound equipment, why would I go buy more in a pandemic, right? I'm going to go buy 10K more of equipment for what? Right. Yeah. Like, I'm not working now. What the hell? Why would I need it? You know? So it's frustrating being the business owner on that aspect of it, you know, because they don't understand your business and how you operate your business. But, you know. Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, that's the thing, too, with big government trying to handle everything, stuff like that, where it's like they put out one solution and they expected one solution to work for everybody. Right. And it can't. You know, every business is different. Right. Every industry is different, man. So for them to say, you know, this will work for everybody, it doesn't work like that, you know? And it just goes to show, like, the separation between the people and the government. Right. You know, but starting to close out, man, with what you were saying also, 2021, a lot of people, you know, every event that you had in 2020 basically just got moved to 2021. When can we expect, you know, the next big event, man? What's happening, man? Without letting all the tricks out of the bag, man. Let me call Sisolak real quick. I'll find out. Hey, you have him on speed out like that? Hey, tell him to call it all off, bro. We're good, man. We're all good. You know, to be honest, bro, like, there is no answer to that. You know, I get people that message on the Sexy Movimiento page all the time, like, bro, when's it happening again, man? Right. And, you know. I run into people, hey, when's the next, come on, man, what's going on? And I'm like, bro, if I had all the answers, bro, I'd be putting it on social media for you. You know what I mean? Like, but, going off the 2021 stuff, like, that's the biggest challenge is like, if we're super, super booked in 2020 and all those confirms move to 2021, that lessens our dates up to be available, right? Fortunately, I've got 14 other DJs, thank God. But like that minimizes a lot of the things on the schedule for 2021.
Right.
So, and I had, I was on Alice this morning and that question was asked about 2021, and I told them exactly that. Like, now is the time to call. Now is the time to hit our website and book because those dates are already confirmed.
Right.
So the chances of us being available on the date that you want in 2021 may not already, it might already be booked. So it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. But the innovation part of it, man, we're ready, bro. We'll do anything, and thank God the weather's pretty decent right now. But we're looking at all kinds of aspects of the new normal type, events, and we won't know,
But you guys are ready.
We stay ready, bro. Yeah, always. But the governor's supposed to speak on the 15th. I know that the numbers are high. I know that a lot of fear mongering still happening out there, so you don't know. And we don't ever want to put. There's been many times where people are like, well, a couple of the venues that you work at are still operating. Why don't you just do it?
Right.
Well, then you have to look at the bigger picture. That's my brand, right?
Right.
So why would I want to infect anybody else or put anody at risk to infect anybody else? So you got to think the bigger picture side of it is, we could probably pull it off, and we could probably open, but just what if, we did something like that? That's not good business, man. It really isn't,
No.
As hungry as we are, and we all want it, bro. The world wants to open back up, and we all want to get back out there, and but we also want to do our part. I'm a big community supporter. I support a lot of the nonprofits and a lot of the the community events out there. So I want to wear that mask for the community. I can't stand it, but I'll do it. I'll do my part to play that role. You got the vaccine. Everybody's talking about the vaccine, and you're gonna get it. You're not gonna get it. Like, you're 50-50, but at the same time, man, if they know, and it's a 95%, and that's going to help us move forward.
Right.
Why wouldn't you get it? And again, there's a lot of why shouldn't you get it, right? Because there's a couple things where you're like, bro, I'm not trying to do this while I'm talking to you either, like you never know, you know?
You really don't.
But at the same time, bro, like, I'm not opposed to it. I want to do whatever I can for my community to open my community back up. Cause we're ready, man. We're ready to entertain. We're ready to party. We're ready to, excite the world. And dude. I know Northern Nevada is ready for it.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. So with all being said, where can the people find you?
Man, where can't you find me is the question, bro. Another hashtag, all amp everywhere, bro. All like literally. Everywhere. You can find us on any social media platform using @AmplifiedENT, Facebook.com/AmpENT. You can find us on Swag 1049, Alice 96.5, Juan 101.7. You can hit our website, AmplifiedENT.com. You can find us on Mixcloud. You can listen to a lot of our DJs mixes on there, /AmplifiedENT. I wish I could say Reno events. Maybe if you type in myspace.com/Reno events, I challenge you. See what pops up.
Yeah, hey, there you go. So thank you. Appreciate it, man.
Guys,
it's been a fucking blessing, man. Thank you for coming on.
Blessings
Make
all
sure
here.
you guys like, comment, subscribe, follow us on all social media platforms.
Subscribe. Where is it, bro? Is it right here? Subscribe.
It'll be up there.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.